Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Manga Monday. We are going to talk about the manga that I have been reading this week, and we are going to discuss it, not in a typical anime review format, but more in a just kind of free discussion, how I felt about it, the pros and cons kind of sort of thing. But before we get into the video, if you can so very much, my beautiful, beautiful little butterflies, if you can subscribe to the channel, like this video, and comment what your answer is for the question of the week. That's right, I'm going to now be doing questions of the week to try to build up a little bit more engagement. And the first one, which obviously everyone as an anime fan is always asked, is what has been your favorite anime of all time? Leave your answers down below. I would appreciate it so much if you could do that. Please, I am begging you. But today's manga, we're going to be talking about Mashle, or Mashle? Mashle. I don't know how it's pronounced, but it's an anime about a boy named Mash who was born into a magical world, but he does not have powers. But he does have a very high level of physical strength, and he uses that to, I shit you not, decimate literally all of his opponents. And we are going to be talking about that today in this video. Now, like I said in the beginning, I'm not going to do my typical, full analysis breakdown. I'm just kind of saying what I like and don't like. I will give a rating at the end of it all once I finish reading it. But I'm not finished reading it. This is kind of me just going through the mangas as I read and just, telling you guys my opinions. Eventually, I will give it on as my final topic, and then I'll give a rating of the whole thing. But right now, there ain't going to be a rating for this one. I am just going to be talking about, what I like and what I don't like about the manga so far. So now let's start off with the pros for the manga. And one of the things that I love so much is Ma's personality. He is such a legitimate, gentle, sweet soul. He could fight anybody, but if he sees just a little bit of true, genuine feeling of sadness or happiness or good, something like that, he can really see that the person is truly sad or whatnot. He can look at that person and be like, oh, you're not that bad of a person. You're actually not an evil person. You're just misguided. And I think I like that about him. I'm usually not for the type of characters who go for the really simple, oh, you could do it, I believe in you, you got heart in yourself, like the Naruto's and Dekus of the world. But Mash isn't necessarily like that. He's not super aggressive when it comes to that, but he does at least just point out the fact that, someone isn't all that bad or someone isn't all that good. And that doesn't necessarily change the person, and that doesn't necessarily sway them into his side, but it's at least nice for someone to at least have some sympathy towards, the type of people they're fighting, and at least knowledge that the people that they're fighting might not be as bad. And I can always appreciate that from a main character. Not only do I love his personality, but I also really extremely love the fact that he has this super goddamn built fucking strength of just being able to physically destroy any magic that comes his way. Now, obviously, it's not everything. Obviously, it's not, gonna be all over the place like we would with any other main characters. But I'd say that it's pretty leveled for at least the world. Obviously, you need him to be a little strong in order to fight the magic, but as we keep reading, we do see thresholds of him struggling, or him having to thinking a little bit, or him having to probably go a little bit harder on certain things. It's not like he's just bulldozing his way through everything. There is definitely challenges that have gotten greater and greater since we have reading, and I at least appreciate that we at least see that Mash isn't just the overpowered fucking a Saitama. But his power is a little bit more grounded, and with this world, I can at least appreciate that. Basically, take half of Saitama's powers from season 1, take Ma's personality, mash it together, and throw it in the Harry Potter universe. That's basically what MASH is and what the series is, and I love it so goddamn much. Now, kind of following the trail from talking about MASH's power, the whole world itself, or at least the fights that we've seen, are fucking amazing. I have read this thing, and it has been one of the best things that I've read like visually, other than obviously like Attack of Titan or like Record of Ragnarok and stuff like that. I got a whole thing about Record of Ragnarok, but that's gonna be for the future. But Mash actually has like some really good drawings and some really good like panels in there. Like, if we ever get a proper studio to pick this up and get it animated, it will legitimately look so goddamn good. It will be one of the best things, I think, out there, just along with the character and just the drawings and the potential to just see this man go off so hard on so many things. It'll be amazing, and I would 100% love to see it. A lot of the fights are like really good, not only like visually wise, but like smart wise, as there's some characters that obviously are stronger than others, and you know, unlike characters where it's like, oh, I have to do this, there are some characters, not all, I'll get to that, but some characters who do use the power they have and try to use it in, maybe not in a strength-wise way, but try to do it in a more strategic way where they can actually do stuff and actually, you know, be opponents that are potentially stronger than them. Yes, there are those characters that are ridiculous and fall tropes. I will talk about those later, but for the most part, there's a good amount of characters here that actually impress me for what they do in terms of actual battle level and actual strategic level. And nothing has really put me off on saying that this anime has like very extreme power creep. At least for the people that we have seen, it set it up to, oh yeah, it makes sense why this person is stronger than this person, and this person is not as strong as this person, and this person is not as strong as this person, and they kind of build it up to a point to where I am right now. There at least seems like there is a level where no one can be as strong as over here, which I can always appreciate. It's good to at least have some grounding in terms of your power level, but nothing has been too crazy. I have my worries, but nothing has been too crazy, and I can at least appreciate that for the most part. Another thing I really love is the dynamic that a lot of the side characters have with the main characters, particularly the character that he's kind of accumulated as a friend group, that being, I think their names were Finn, Dots, Lauren or Lemon or something like that, and a few other people. Their relationship is actually quite generic for the most part, but I think it works in tandem with Mash's personality. I think if this was just a normal character, it would be just like very whatever, very just like, oh, I get it, like, yeah, you know, stupid, silly stuff. But the way that Mash interacts with the side characters makes it feel a little bit more interesting. The characters themselves and the way they react is just kind of like whatever. We've seen those type of characters and how they reacted over like a bunch of times. But like Mash's interactions with them are really interesting and really quirky due to the fact of how his personality is, where he's kind of been shut away from society his entire life due to the fact he's not a magic user. So yeah, that is very interesting. I like that aspect, although, you know, the characters themselves could definitely be better, but Mash definitely helps carry that along and make it more interesting. Now we're going to move on to the cons, and one of the things that I found kind of to be a con, well, it's not as big as I would like it to, as I put it on here, but I wish that the world explored more of the politics and how society works. We kind of get that through only really Mash. We do get a side of the hierarchy of magic and how magic works and all that stuff, how like lower people who don't have very strong magic sense and people who have bigger, stronger magic senses are just on completely different levels and just completely different planes of existence in terms of like what they can do, what they have access to, how they're treated in society. But another thing that also talked about is just magic users and non-magic users. Since non-magic users like Mash exist in this world, but we're only really told about like they're gotten rid of. And I assume when they got rid of, I assume obviously they mean they're executed. But I would at least like to you know, explore that side a little bit, like see more people's opinions and stuff like that. I mean, obviously when you execute the people who, you know, don't have magic, you don't really have that base to really interact with that and really show the huge societal differences, which is why I'm not too beaten up or too against the fact that, you know, we see them and like, oh no, not we see them, but that we don't see them and that we don't have those interactions. But I would at least like that, maybe like a small civilization of people who like, maybe they have, you know, high top family members who can keep them alive, or we have people who like, they may not have powers, but they serve some type of benefit to the world itself. But that's like such a small nitpick, since the world does kind of rectify that in terms of like, oh well, they don't really exist. The only ones we really see is Mash, and I think with like a few other exceptions, but that's kind of about it. Like Mash is the only real person that anyone in society interacts with that has no magic. So that's why I said it's not that big of a point, because they do somewhat rectify that. But I would have personally liked to see that. I also would have liked to see just a lot more politics being played out, since we kind of only see that and everyone does things with magic. And it also, I mean, it does show the fact that people rely a little bit too much on the magic system in this world. And, you know, obviously when someone who doesn't rely on magic comes in and they're like, oh shit, what the fuck do I do? It kind of turns everybody's plans and everyone's approach to everything kind of upside down. So I appreciate that point. There's a lot of things it does. It's not a huge con, but it's something I'd like to throw there as con, because I think it's something that can improve the overall manga reading experience. Also, I was bringing up earlier how some of the side characters that interact with Mash, like as a group, they're fun to interact with, but individually, they all kind of suck. Either they can hold themselves up and they're strong as hell, or they're just kind of bland and worthless, and like they don't do anything to enhance the story. Like, there is a few of them that will make interesting scenes and have it just interact with the overall universe itself, but none of them truly really make things interesting or progress the plot in an interesting way. They're just kind of there, and honestly, you don't even need all of them. I would say you only need maybe like a few of them. That's kind of like about it. Like I forget her name, but there's the blonde girl. I think her name's either Lemon or Lucy or something like that. But she literally serves like no purpose in the series other to just kind of be what I feel like a damsel in distress. Although my next con will also address another issue. There are characters like this where they exist and they either feel like such a detriment that they're only really there to either like cause the main character or other strong character to try to save them and get hurt, or they're used to be like kind of a like plot progression of just like, oh well, why would I do this? Oh, because I have this person that you care about. Oh shit, well I gotta save that friend. And it's just like, man, you could have done so many other things to progress this point other than use that character, use this character, and they're only associated with Mash because of that reason, it feels like. So that's why I'm just kind of like, okay, like the group dynamic is fun to watch, and I get a laugh too out of it, but overall, in terms of actual proper story progression, it really doesn't do much. But the thing that scares me overall with everything and how that really goes, right, is the fact that I'm afraid that this manga is going to pull the hidden or secret or forgotten technique type thing. And I'm not talking about like, they're gonna have somebody pull out some. Okay, I'm getting lost in the weeds with this, but basically, I do not want this manga to go ahead and give someone like Mash a very strong magical ability that only he can use due to his circumstances, even though he can't use magic. And that would bother me a lot, because they kind of have it set up to where that might be the case. Now, I forgot to say it here, but I know I put a spoiler thing at the beginning because I remember that. So at the very least, you have been spoiled. So I'm going to say it right now. To say a part about I'm going to say a part about the manga. They have to get spoiled because I can't really explain it without at least saying it. So basically, Mash doesn't have any powers, but we do end up finding out that Mash is kind of like a clone or a like human part copy of one of the strongest wizards within the world. And that's kind of what Innocent Zero, the kind of organization that everyone is trying to fight against, that ends up invading the school, that's what everyone's trying to fight against. And that super strong wizard that's also on par with like the master wizard trying to help run school, is like they're on the same par because they got trained by the other strongest wizard and they're not as strong as him, but like it's a whole crazy thing. So the thing about that is, right, that they bring up the fact that Mash is in some way a part of him. Like, he made Mash, which makes sense because we didn't see his parents and we didn't know if he had parents. So technically, this man is Mash's dad. My issue with this is that I don't want this to be a situation, right, where Mash has some unlocked, unfolded potential where he can use magic and he can use his special magic, or the strength that he has naturally is not due to the training he got, but it's because of the magic that was bestowed upon him by one of the strongest wizards in that universe. And that would make me very upset, because why would we do this? Because that makes no sense. It would follow the world like laws, and I understand that, but you defeat making Mash such a special and unique character in the world if you do that to him. And I wouldn't necessarily have this fear as strongly, but they do this technically with two characters in mind. They do this with Dot, and they do this with Abyss. Dot, while he's not super strong, he has explosive magic, which can be definitely useful, but usually it could be very easy to avoid as well. But he also has a thing, or some weird mark on his forehead, that lets him like very much so enhance his ability to like a very extreme level, to where like he's very hard to compete with. And then with Abyss was supposed to be kind of the equal to Mash, in the sense of Abyss can't really, it was stated that Abyss can't really use magic, but they somehow make him use magic, which I'm still kind of confused about, because I'm pretty sure in the manga he states that he can't use magic and he's similar to Mash, or I think it's similar to Mash in the sense of he feels unwanted, because then like not only does he have that, because his magic is strong but not that strong, but he has the evil eye, which this eye basically can negate any type of magic that anybody has. So we're talking about if they want to use it against any of the divine visionaries, you want to use it against any of the representatives of the house, they want to use it against any politician, you want to use this against some of the strongest magic users, i.e. the two people who are considered the strongest, the leader, Innocent Zero, and the what do you call him? And the dean of the magic school. And like, that person can use that magic and cancel out whatever magic, and all they are just old decrepit men. That is not okay. And that's what I meant when I said the power creep has been too bad, because those are only two instances, and one isn't really activated that much, and we only seen once, and the other one, while you can negate it, it's not that hard to negate, because they gotta look directly at you, and the person needs to look directly at the eye, so it's not that hard to negate. But it also proves the fact that they've done this before, where if they pulled the secret hidden technique of, oh yeah, this person looks weak, but oh, they have this special ability. And with Abyss, I don't really mind it, because we got their introduction and they were kind of made mysterious, so we always established that was their ability. But Dot was never introduced with this ability, or they never brought up the fact that he had this until a point where he absolutely needed it as the Ex Machina thing, and it bothers me so much when people do this. It's just, I don't want the value of Mash to be lost just because they want to try to make a compelling plot. First of all, it's not compelling. Everyone, not only in anime, but in TV and movie, has done this, where the regular old whatever person has some secret ability that they don't know about, and it makes them far more special and strong because of it. And then you lose the whole value of Mash as like this special person in this universe, being able to defy the laws of nature and defy the rules that have been applied in magic for so long. Like, I don't want people to read this and just think it's some weird generic shonen anime, because honestly, I think MASH is more than that. I think MASH is more than whatever generic anime you want to put it in. I think it does a lot of things that are interesting, but it also tends to fall into bad habits that shonen does. So I would really appreciate it if they wouldn't do this, because I just don't want to see it, and it would just devalue MASH, and it would devalue the series. And I'm not gonna lie, I don't know how interested I would be if they pulled that whole stunt. I would lose a lot of interest in the story if they pulled that type of stunt. So I've been talking for a while, so overall my opinion on at least what I've read so far in the manga. I really like this series. It has been a fun read. Obviously I have a little bit of issues right here and there, but now I'm at a point where either this series is going to keep me even more entertained, or it's going to completely make me fall off of it. I don't want to fall off of it. I want to keep enjoying it, but it's going to be very, very interesting these next couple of chapters. I will make a second video talking about the rest of the chapters that I read, and eventually, I'll make another video and we'll talk about what else happened there. But for now, I'm enjoying this series. I think that people should read it. I do recommend it right now. Whether that changes later, I have no clue, but we'll go ahead and we'll try to see. So anyways, thank you for joining me on my Manga Monday. I hope you guys appreciated the little discussion I had. If you liked it so much and you liked this video, please leave a like on this video. Leave a comment down below with the answer to the question of the week of what is your favorite anime of all time, and subscribe to the channel to give me that support. I want to break 1,000. I just want to hit 1,000. We're not close yet, but that is my goal, is to at least hit 1,000 on this channel, so we can prove to ourselves that we can at least do that. I would love to see it. I would love to have it, and I would love for you to be there for that journey. So thank you all for watching. Please have a good day, have a good night, have a good evening, wherever you are in the world, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.